Hello folks, it's John Litteral, host of LiteralTruth.com and also Literal Truth Biblical Studies. I do have a channel where I talk mostly about religion, specifically Christianity, and I started posting some pictures here lately of some work that I'm doing for my podcast work, and got my computer and got some stuff set up here. Got a little bookshelf, and after I posted the pictures, I've had people ask me, okay, what kind of books you got on the shelf? And even zooming in on the pictures that I gave, it was still hard to see, so I figured, hey, let's just make a video. The top of this shelf that I've got, it's a really old bookshelf, and I thought, well, you know, this thing will sit fine up there on my desk. And on the top, I've got a lot of books that I wrote and published myself over the years. We've got this one right here. It's called Questions and Answers on Genesis by Augustine, Astor, and Augustine. And so basically what it is, it's a commentary, and this is a little different than your average commentary. First of all, it's three different commentators. You got Augustine of Hippo, Astor, and Augustine of York. And they wrote what is called a question and answers. And they did that type of commentary on some of the books of the Bible, and especially Genesis. And so I put that together. I had it translated. I edited it and published it. And so you can buy that book on Amazon. I can even put it for free. A lot of these books I've offered. A lot of my books I put for free download PDFs on my website. Here's one of the recent Christian books that I put together. It's actually a Bible. It's of the New Testament. It's called the Early Church Fathers Study Bible. And so, I put together a study Bible, and I did put this study Bible on my website for free. It's always, you might have to kind of search around for it. But it's published. You can buy it on Amazon. You can get it on the bookshelf. It's, as you can see, it's good size. And it's got footnotes of the early church fathers. Here's another one that I put together. It's the Dewey Bible, and this is of the Gospels. And what I did is I put together the text along with the footnotes that comes with that Bible. And I did that one probably 8 or 9 years ago, and got it published. Here's one of my books, A Complete Comparison of the Four Gospels. It's a synopsis of all four Gospels with in-depth explanations and harmonization. Very handy tool. So it puts together all the four Gospels and all the places where they are related. It puts them side by side so you can actually compare the readings. Here's another one that I did. I had these translated, and I published them. It's called the Early Commentaries on the Book of Romans. And there's actually two of them, two commentaries. One of them is by Augustine, and the other one is by Theodoret of Cyrus. Moving on to another book. This is one that I didn't translate, but it was translated by Robin McGregor. And I got in touch with him and told him that I can publish it for him. And so I edited it and published it. And so what it is, it's a commentary on Ecclesiastes by 4th century Bible commentator Jerome of Stridon. Moving on to some of the other books. Here's another one, Early Church Fathers Bible Commentary on the book of Tobit. I put that together a while back. Had some translators translate. And so it's basically a Katina on the book of Tobit. Tobit is not part of the canon of Scripture for Protestants. but it is found in Catholic Bibles and Greek or Eastern Orthodox Bibles. And here's another project that I did some years ago. I hired a translator, Sarah Vanderpas and Jacob Cerrone, and so actually Sarah, this is really a prototype copy. Sarah ended up actually doing a complete translation of it, and I published it too. So this one's really not even on the market anymore. It's the version that is the one that Sarah did. Another book that I published, this was, it's another one. It's just with a different cover. It's the one of Jerome on Ecclesiastes. Then here's a couple really old books from Thomas Aquinas. It's of his Summa Theologica, pretty deep Christian philosophical writings. Here's another one that's pretty interesting. This is the Gospels in Syriac, but it also it's an interlinear. It's a Syriac interlinear version of the New Testament, or of the Gospels. Here is another one that actually just a prototype. I never published this one, but I did have it put in print. It's the early church fathers' Katina on Genesis. And what a Katina is just a compilation of quotes that are comments on the book of Genesis by different early church fathers. Right here is a bunch of volumes it's more of the Dewey Reams Study Bible. I had the whole New Testament done and published, so there's just a lot of versions, or a lot of different copies. Moving down to the second, Robert Sefer. This is a really good book if you want to learn about Sabbatean Frankist. He goes, it's very concise, but he does a good job on going in depth about Sabbatai Zevi and Jacob Frank. And Sabbatean Frankism, that is the ones that control the world, the most evil people in the world. Some people refer to them as Jews, but when we're talking about the Rothschilds, they are Sabbatean Frankist. So it's a really good book and goes into that. So here's another book I bought a little while back, and it's by Leo Zagami, and it's called Confessions of an Illuminati, Volume 666. It's really good. Here's one of the first volumes by Henry Macko. It's the Illuminati, the cult that hijacked the world. Here's his Volume 2. It's called Deceit and Seduction, Illuminati. Then Volume 3, Satanic Possession. Great works by Henry Macko. And then here's another book by Henry Macko called Cruel Hopes. And it's about feminism and the New World Order. Here's a book written by Tex Mars called The Destroyer, The Antichrist is at Hand. Then here's also a very famous, very good book, Conspirators, Hierarchy, The Story of the Committee of 300 by Dr. John Coleman. Then here are some more of the books, some of my most recent books. This one's The Antichrist and His Cult, The Beast System and the End Game. Then trying to do this with one hand on the camera, another one. And here's Confessions of a Free-Thinking Christian. That's another one. That's my most recent book. And here's the book that I wrote a couple years ago called The Handbook on the Powers That Should Not Be, a straightforward look at the global cabal and what you can do. Here's a couple of David Icke books. The Trigger, which is an excellent book on 9/11. You can see this is huge. Then here's one of David's most recent books. It's not the most recent, but it's the second to most recent, called The Answer. Excellent book. Here's a book called The Beast Who Once Was, Insight into the End Times Prophecies by Chris Rillitz. Awesome book. Cannot recommend that one enough. And here's some more ancient Christian literature, some Aquinas on Nature and Grace, Augustine's earlier writings, some early medieval theology, and a scholastic miscellany, and spiritual and Anabaptist writers. And then here's a book. Some years ago, when I converted into the Eastern Orthodox Church, this was some of the required reading. I'm no longer Eastern Orthodox. I consider myself a free-thinking Christian, but that's a really good book. Here's a book that I highly recommend. It's called Government, the Biggest Scam in History by Etienne de la Boete. Awesome book, especially for people who want to start to learn about anarchy and voluntarism and stuff. I mean, you can see he puts a lot of really good pictures, and I mean, it's just, very helpful for people that are just starting to figure things out and understand the scam of history, or a scam of government. Now here's very old books. These were actually published in the 1800s. This is of the Greek Old Testament, the Greek Septuagint. I'd say those are probably worth some money now. Here's a book, the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's a translation of the non-biblical writings of the Dead Sea Scrolls, the extra-biblical. Very interesting, really good stuff. Now, I've been involved in working with textual criticism of the Bible and studying the Greek Old manuscripts and everything. And here's some really good. It's by Reuben Swanson. He lines up the readings of the ancient Greek manuscripts of the New Testament. So, and, it's just, here's a Greek dictionary, classical Greek, and, I've studied Greek, studied Latin. So here's my, just a Latin dictionary as well. A friend of mine, Peter Papoutsis, translated the whole Bible from Greek. He translated the Greek Septuagint and also the Greek New Testament. And it's called the Holy Orthodox Bible. I do recommend his work. He's a great guy. Here's an Aramaic version of the New Testament. It just goes back to when I was really doing a lot of study of the ancient languages and stuff. Here's some really cool writings here. This one right here is a comparison of the Greek New Testament, or the Greek Gospels, and they're side by side. That actually came in very handy when I did this work up here, the complete comparison of the four Gospels. Reuben Swanson, same one that did these Greek New Testaments. He did the same thing, basically, putting them in horizontal lines. There's a Catechism of the Catholic Church. So that's basically what's on my bookshelf. So that answers that question. So folks, take care. Have a good day.